And hello out there, Caniac Nation. Thanks for joining us for session 64 of CaniacSessions. I'm Griff.
I'm AB.
And I am Brandyn.
And we got the whole band together tonight, boys.
Yes, we do.
For the first time.
Officially.
So how we doing, fellas? What's going on this Sunday evening before we have to go back to real life tomorrow morning?
There it is right there.
Oh, come on, man. It's the most mid team ever.
What, the Panthers?
Matter. I was so excited.
He did the Wolfpack thing.
Oh, okay.
Just that.
That's a letter M. Is it the letter M for mid? I'm just kidding. I
think this is West Virginia, and
we just fired a coach.
I mean, y'all beat us yesterday, so I can't say anything.
That's right.
I mean, granted, I don't get upset about college football. I get upset about hockey and to a lesser degree baseball, and that's about it.
That's true. We got a lot to unpack.
We do.
Yeah, we sure do. So forgive me here if I keep looking off to my left. I've got the Panthers game going over here on my phone.
So
and
why?
I figured the game would be over by now when we scheduled this for 7:30. But we're in overtime. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's get going here. Yeah, so I don't my intro's all jacked up because we're not part of the network anymore. So yeah. I guess we just start going here. So anyway, it's been about 8 days since we last talked, AB, and we knew we were coming into a rough part of this schedule. Right? I think we streamed session 63 the night before the Columbus game last Saturday. And then we knew we had Dallas, New York Rangers, and then a back-to-back with Florida, coming up this week. And when we last did session 63, we didn't know of the Kochetkov injury yet. So a lot has happened since session 63. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to dive into it. We're going to give some quarter season grades. We have just passed the quarter mark of the season already, and we've got our grades listed out. We'll talk about them, and then we'll look at the standings, and we'll look at next week as Carolina returns home for the majority of the month of December. So current news, really, there's not really much news out there around the Canes other than the fact that Kochetkov is injured.
AB, that was poorly timed.
Sorry.
What was that?
Sorry.
He did a fist pump about the Panthers game right when you said that Kochetkov got injured.
The Bucks missed their kick.
Did they?
Yeah, they missed the field goal.
They sure did.
Sorry, Canes fans. No. All right, I'll stop now. I'll stop. Sorry. My bad.
Carolina's got the ball at like close to the 50-yard line. Anyway, so let's just start with we'll get into this past schedule, right? But before we can do that, I feel like we have to address the elephant in the room and talk about this goaltending situation. And I'm I guess I've kind of been labeled as the Spencer Martin apologist. I don't know if either of you saw the interactions I had with some of the fan base last night, but I was pretty mad at some of the tweets that were out there. And, look, I am not saying Spencer Martin is perfect by any means. I'm not saying Spencer Martin is an NHL goalie by any means. But what I am saying is we don't have to blame the goalie every time the puck goes in the net, every single game. Now, the reason I got so angry, and I know I'm rambling here, and I'll shut up here in a second, guys, but the reason I get so angry is puck goes in the net. Oh my gosh, Spencer Martin sucks. Spencer Martin this, Spencer Martin that. Okay, maybe that's true. Okay, but when a team scores 0, you can't put that loss on the goalie fully. Now, the night before at home against Florida, yes, Martin was bad. I didn't think he was bad last night in that 6-0 loss. I mean, he kept us in the game through 2 periods. And then the third period, look, he played back-to-back. He was smoked. Okay? So, yes, he's not the individual, the goaltender that's going to take us to the promised land or whatever, but he's all we got right now. So instead of trying to freaking beat him down, like on social media, how about, like, I don't know, let's support the guy, and maybe the team could support the guy too. That's all I'm saying. So, save your bullshit takes, people.
Whoa.
Well,
save
we're
them.
not on the network anymore, so
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the takes, man.
Oh, I got the green light then.
No, I'm not the green light. But anyway, so let's hear about it, guys. So, right, so Spencer Martin plays all 4 games, well, all 5 games since last Saturday. He goes 2-2-1 in those 6 games, or I'm sorry, 5 games. And I'm kind of under the impression that, like, that's better than I thought once I found out Kochetkov was hurt. So I'm going to open it up to you guys about this goaltending situation. What do we need to do? What does the team need to do? Are we, if we get PK back on Tuesday night against Seattle, are we going to just keep driving on? Do you think we still need to make a trade? I'll open the floor to you guys.
I think when we look at Spencer Martin, and with any hockey fan, if somebody, quote unquote, lets in 6 goals, you're out for their head, which is, with any sport, if you allow that many goals, like if it was in soccer, something like that, like, you want their head. But Spencer Martin has done a very good job. Besides the past 2 performances, he beat a great Dallas team, and our offense and defense and our goaltending was solid. The Rangers, even though they are not as good as they were, they're still a dangerous team when they want to turn the lights on. So I was also a big favorite of going out and trading for a goaltender, but right now it just doesn't seem right with the market. I would, keep Martin, and Kochetkov, I believe, is going to come and play Tuesday against the Kraken or Thursday. So I'm not really too panicked. Again, we have a really good team. Our offense is good. Our defense is good. It was just, one of those back-to-backs that really just couldn't keep up. So I'm not pulling the alarm yet. And obviously, Freddie Anderson and Kochetkov are going to be your goalies, but Freddie Anderson got hurt. So when we have Kochetkov back, I think we'll kind of just level out and, not panic as much on the goaltender situation.
So the way that I was looking at this week going into it, if you win 1 game, crisis averted. If you win 2 games, disaster mitigated. Going into this, if you told me you will have 4 points this week and 2 of those will be against a Metro Division team, I've been like, okay, I'll take that. That's a good deal if you ask me. Now, one thing that I think that I know that I didn't clarify a whole lot when I said this initially, I remember I posted something in regards to, hey, let's take a look at someone like John Gibson, someone who's like publicly stated he's kind of annoyed with the shot volume that he's faced in Anaheim. I know that that's a big cap hit. I believe it's 6.3 or something along those lines. But he's only got 2 years left on his contract, including this one. So you wouldn't be making a long-term commitment with him. You could potentially get a third team involved to make that fit. With salary retention, there's ways that maybe it could happen. I was just throwing that out there as an idea. There's probably a more realistic one, such as Dustin Tokarski, and that gives you a third guy. And then you could put him back through waivers, and you don't have to expend any assets to get him. You can just sign him. But they do need to do something else there. Spencer did good with what he had. I'm happy he got us 2 wins. It was pretty evident that he was exhausted by
Yeah.
the end of this week. I think that if you wanted to have what you called you talked about it with the last time we played New Jersey, Griff, a scheduled loss, we should have sacrificed one game this week to have a chance to win last night. I think that would have been, it was yesterday, I should say. You probably should have just thrown Peretz in at home. Use the fact that you had last change to your advantage, and maybe you eke that game out. Spencer gets a day of rest, and you probably have a better result the next day. Not saying we would have won either one of those games, but I think that would have been a little bit better management there. There might be a little bit of apprehension because of what happened to Jack LaFontaine. But if we're looking for a short-term solution where we don't spend assets so that we can just bridge the gap until Freddie gets back, I think Tokarski is a good option because a little bit of alternate history here. If we go into this weekend with Tokarski and Martin as our two goalies, then Peretz never sees the net, and you probably split the starts. So if we're looking for a solution like that, there is one right there. Now, I believe he has to go through waivers if we do sign him, I think. But I don't know if anybody would need to claim him, though, as far as I know.
I don't know. I don't know why he would have to clear waivers. If we sign him to a contract, I mean, because
Corey Lavalette said something about it, I think.
He's a free agent. He's unsigned. I don't know why he would have to clear waivers.
That's not from me. Corey Lavalette said something about that. I'd have to go back and look at the post he made, but it was something about that why they couldn't, that he would have to go through waivers after they sign him or before they sign him or something. I don't know. It was just something I glanced over the weekend. I'd have to go back and look to be absolutely sure.
Well, I don't know if Tokarski is the answer. I mean, maybe once Kochetkov is back, if you want to sign him and play him in the minors, fine. I don't know if he's a better option over Spencer Martin. But if we look at the big picture here, and maybe, this is where I get aggravated. The big picture here is after last season, this organization should have been done with the Freddie Anderson experiment. They chose to, maybe they tried to move him and couldn't. I don't know, but you didn't hear any rumors about it.
Mm-mm.
But you should not have planned to go into this season with Freddie Anderson. Okay. This is the third year in a row he's been injured and missed some time. Last year, yes, I get it. Blood clots. You can't do anything about that. But if it wouldn't have been blood clots, what else would it have been? You know what I mean?
Nate.
So I just think you get that ship. They should have let that ship sail because they went through this crap last year. They didn't learn from it. And now here we are again going through it. And this is even worse because you lose Kochetkov too. If you remember last year, we brought Martin up because Antti Ranta was playing bad. And he got, I don't remember if he was hurt.
He got put on 8 goals. He let in 8 goals on Tampa, and I think that's when they called Martin up. He
got sent to the minors, and then it was Kochetkov, and we didn't have a backup, right? So it was Peretz for how long? Was up here backing up, and then they signed Spencer Martin. He came up, he got some games until I think they even brought Ranta back for a while. Anyway.
They did.
Yeah. Anyway, you didn't learn from your mistake. And you went into the season hoping that your goaltending would hold up. We didn't even make it to game 7.
Story of our lives.
And look, the fact that we are sitting here today with probably one of the worst goalie situations in the league, outside of Colorado. The fact that we are still sitting here today 16-7-1 is amazing.
Miracle.
And that's why I say to the fan base, calm down. And not the fan base, just these people on X that like to, that run their mouths about certain things. Relax, man. Like Spencer Martin has done more than he was asked to do, in my opinion. I digress.
Yep. Court adjourned.
We definitely do need to insulate the goaltending position with someone else though, in some way or another.
I agree.
It's just it's a tough situation because one of the things that makes this season difficult is the schedule is incredibly condensed because of the Four Nations face-off. That's 11 days that you don't have to play games in, and that's why there's so many back-to-backs. The travel schedule for everybody sucks. So there's a multitude that was another reason I was saying, hey, like if we can make it work salary-wise, I don't know how we would, but let's just say in theory salary wasn't a factor and we could get someone like John Gibson. If you could make that work, one of the biggest reasons why you make a trade like that this year is because of the schedule. If that involves moving Freddie, I hate to do that to the guy. I really do. He got us to the conference finals a couple of years ago, but at what point is it we're like, okay, this is a business decision. We reopened our cup window early. The 18 guys in front of him, and 19, we'll throw Tyson Yost in there as well, have played well enough to where we're talking about this team might actually go deeper than we thought. Like, we have to really, really consider that. Do we want to let the season go to waste like we did in 22-23? That was probably our best chance to win in years, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. I'm not for bringing in a big name. I think they need to bring in some. If they want to bring in like a number 2 and let Martin go back to the AHL, that's fine. Somebody I thought they could look at is Dan Vladar in Calgary. He's having
on
a
an
heck of a year.
contract too.
I don't care.
If Quick wasn't on the
no, that's what I'm
Rangers,
saying. He's on an expiring contract. That would be the best part about.
Oh yeah, right.
If Quick wasn't on the Rangers, I'd want him with open arms.
They're not going to let him go.
They're not going to let him go.
Of course not. You could do Blackwood if you wanted to spend a little bit of money.
Greer is going to want a pretty big trade.
See, and that's the problem. That's the problem is the league thinks we're desperate. And I mean, you could argue that we are. And so, and that's another thing. All these people out here screaming trade, trade, trade. They might not like the return. They might not like what goes out the door to bring in a John Gibson or, whoever. So, and that's beside the money. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I just really hope, I hope we can get Kochetkov back this week, and I hope he can. And look, there's a chance he can come in and not play well.
Yeah. Get rattled by a head injury. I mean,
or if he comes back too early.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
I mean, he can rattle you.
And he hadn't played in over a week. He hadn't practiced in over a week. So there's a chance. I mean, there's a chance he could come in Tuesday night against Seattle and Martin might be the better option.
Bring in Martin.
If that's a home game, right?
It is.
Yes.
If Kochetkov needs another game, let him have it.
I agree.
Because that's a team
I think he plays Colorado Thursday if he weren't to play Seattle.
I'd rather have him in net against Colorado and give him a couple more days to get ready then, because you can beat the Seattle Kraken with Spencer Martin in net, especially at home. You can do that. Last change is your friend, especially for this team.
But then just playing, devil's advocate, then you're throwing Kochetkov in against Colorado, who is very dangerous offensively, cold. So
yeah, there's no good solution. It's just you hope one is better than the other.
Yeah.
Rocking a hard place.
I mean, and hopefully he just comes in and picks right up where he left
Lights
off.
out.
So,
yeah,
we'll see. All right, I think we beat that one to death. We'll see what goes on with that. But moving on, we will look at quarter season grades. So I think we discussed how we're going to do this. And by the way, the Panthers lost.
Stop.
They didn't yesterday.
They fumbled
I literally
the ball.
tweeted, I said, I'm not saying anything about Bryce Young anymore.
No, but they fumbled the ball on their, after Chuba missed that kick.
Chuba fumbled the ball.
Chuba Hubbard fumbled the ball. Oh,
they fumbled and then Tampa drove and kicked the field goal. So,
man, Florida teams are just not fun to be against this weekend.
We did that to ourselves. We missed 2 field goals in the Pinheiro missed 2 field goals and
it's heartbreak after.
And then the refs overturned, or the refs, Thielen scored a touchdown. They didn't give it to him. They said he bobbled.
Yeah,
the
they
ball.
overturned it. Yeah, I saw that.
Well, they called it incomplete, and they stuck with it, which I thought was a touchdown.
You can't complain.
Anyway, grades. So the way we discussed doing this is we'll read our grades off for all the forwards, then we'll discuss them a little bit. Then the defense, we'll do the same. Then the goaltending, discuss them a bit, and then we'll do team grades. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So the way we'll do it is I'll read the name, then we'll go from left to right. So I'll read the name, my grade, then Brandon, then AB, so on and so forth.
Give me 1 second to pull up the notes then.
Okay.
My bad. I totally forgot to do that a couple of seconds ago.
No, you're good.
You're good.
All right. So starting with Martin Natchez. We'll just head right to the top, right out the gate here. So for Natchez, who, might I add, and I forgot to mention this in the news portion, he was named the NHL's first star of the month today. He was first. I believe Rantanen was second star and Halibut was third star. So great company there. So Martin Natchez has led the league in points up until today, where Kirill Kaprizov passed him. So Natchez is in second at 37 points. Kaprizov is at 38 in first. So I gave Marty Natchez A+.
I also gave him an A+.
A+.
Yeah, I mean, nothing else needs to be said. Sebastian Aho. So B- for me.
B- for me as well.
I said B-. I was teetering on B, but he couldn't hit the score sheet on 5-on-5 for a little bit, so I couldn't give him a B. So
we all just gonna have the same grades all the way down through here?
No, that's not true.
No, the next one we're different.
All right, Andrei Svechnikov. I gave him a C.
I gave Andrei Svechnikov a B-.
C+.
Man, I'm a little more critical than y'all. And I'll save that one for when we're done with the forwards, and I'll come back and talk about it. But all right, next is Jack Roslovic. I gave him a B.
I gave Jack Roslovic an A-.
I gave him a B+.
Next is Eric Robinson. Got a B+ from me.
I gave him an A+. I am really happy with him.
Ooh, okay.
I gave him a B.
I wasn't even sure he was going to make the team.
I gave him a B. Did we miss Scott to spare?
We're doing forwards first.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I know he plays like a forward sometimes, but he's not one.
All right, I'm going to highlight Eric Robinson because that's definitely – so the ones where we have, like, big disagreements, I'm going to highlight, and we'll come back and talk about them.
Okay.
So Svech and Robinson so far.
So
all right, moving
Jordan
on.
Martinook next.
Jordan Martinook, I gave him an A.
I gave him an A+.
I gave him an A.
All right, next is Jesperi Kotkaniemi. I gave him a C.
I gave KK a B+.
I gave him a C.
That's a big one, I think.
Yeah, we're coming back to that. I think
that's my favorite secondary assist merchant.
I think Rod would give him an F.
Yeah, probably.
I would give him an F if I could.
You could have.
All right, next, Seth Jarvis. I gave him an A.
I also gave him an A.
A-.
A-.
Mm-hmm. It's the injury.
Oh, that's his fault, huh?
I'm not saying it's his fault, but he could be an A+ if he wasn't injured, and if we saw more points or more production.
Okay. All right. Jackson Blake, the rookie, gave him a B.
I gave him a B-.
Same here, B-.
All right. Moving on to Jordan Stahl. I gave him a B+.
I gave him an A.
I gave him a B.
All right. Jack Drury. I gave him an A-.
I also gave him an A-.
I gave him a B+.
Wait, what did I say?
No, you said B+. You were the same as me.
Yeah,
you were thinking of Brandon.
I thought I just read the wrong name there for a second. That's why I was like, wait. All right. William Carrier. I gave him a B+.
I gave him an A.
I gave him a B.
We're gonna highlight
Yeah,
that one.
that's
We're gonna talk about that one. All right, moving on to not Sean Walker. He's not a forward. That's it. Is that all? Is that all of our forwards?
Yep.
That's it.
All right. So for the most part, we agree, right? Couple of them that we don't, but look, for the most part, our dudes have been our dudes. We've gotten plenty of depth scoring. I think we're finishing better than years past. I think we're scoring. Well, I know we're scoring more than years past. Recent years anyway. And that always used to be the thing around this team is they couldn't finish, they couldn't score. Just tons of shots, but couldn't get the puck to go in. And I think that has changed a little bit this season. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we highlighted a couple here that we kind of disagreed with. We'll start with Andrei Svechnikov. I gave him a C. Brandon, you gave him a B-. AB gave him a C+. So since I gave him the lowest grade, I'll start and say, Svech has been fine for the most part, but every single year we always say, is he ever going to become who we think he can become? And it's just like he never can get there. He can't ever get to that ceiling that we believe exists. I think this year, while some of the stupid penalties have stopped, he's still taking stupid penalties. I think that you just watch him play, and as talented as he is, he'll put himself in good position, but it's like his body moves faster than his brain. And then he gets in a position and he just like freezes and doesn't know what the hell to do. And so I think that's been an issue lately. We saw him play, and I don't think Rod moved him to the fourth line to punish him or anything, but they did move him down to play alongside Kotkaniemi and Blake. A lot of that was probably matchup based, but it still happened. And I just don't think he's playing especially this past week. I don't think he's been very good. So I'll let you guys weigh in.
Well, since I gave him a C+, I was getting ready to say the penalties. This guy came in, I believe, into the NHL as a sniper, but quickly shifted over to a power forward. And he has all the talent in the world. And last year, he missed a couple of games recovering from that ACL tear. But he's been scoring. I'm not like disappointed in his points or his offensive production. It's just he's a liability on the power play. Now, hear me out. He can score on the power play, but whenever he's on the power play, it turns into a 4-on-4.
Yeah.
Every single time there's a penalty, it's him. And he would be a lot higher if he took less penalties and, was smart and had, not using his body first and his stick first instead of his brain. And that can also bite you and that can also help you. But, I can't give him over a C just because of the penalties, which has killed Carolina in certain situations, especially on the 5-on-3.
So here's why I gave Svech the grade I gave him. I know I graded him a little bit higher than you guys. He's doing one big thing that I wanted him to do more this year than he did last year. He's shooting the puck more often. Eventually, that's going to start translating because, like you said, we anticipated a sniper and we got more of a power forward. A comparable situation to that, even though they have different play styles. Tuomo Ruutu was like that. He was drafted to score goals. He ended up being someone who went out there and hit people and occasionally scored. And y'all know how much I love Tuomo Ruutu. But the thing with it is, part of it's not on Svech. Part of it is on his deployment, in my opinion. I don't like him playing on the left side. I think if he was on the right wing, he would score more often because that's what he always was until he came to, or until Carolina drafted him. I think that you would see his production increase a decent amount. And I'm talking a decent amount as in like 10 goals per season. Maybe he breaks that 30 goal mark if he's playing on the right side of the ice where he's got a better sight picture of the net when he shoots. The other thing is, I wish Rod would stop trying the Aho and Svechnikov experiment. I don't see any chemistry between the two.
Yeah.
He needs to stay with Kotkaniemi. And honestly, he played the little bit of time he's been with Drury. I've liked him better with him than he has with Aho. I just don't see the chemistry between Svech and Aho. I just don't. I have tried to find it. I've looked at metrics, possession-wise. Yeah, sure, there's some there. As far as finishing, though, I just don't see it with Svech and Aho. I'm sorry, I just don't.
No, I don't either. And they've been split. They've been split up as of late. I think Jarvis and Aho need to play together.
Yes.
I think you can see their chemistry, and it could be Roslovic, whoever you want to put up there, Martinook, whatever. They had Carrier up there one game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I agree with you. But but I just like I said, I just think that I don't think he's worthy of a B or a B minus so far this year.
I barely gave him that. If I had put in a heavier emphasis on the last 4 or 5 games, he wouldn't even got that from me. I just know that part of it is he's not being played in the best way to be played, which is 1 on the right side of the ice and 2 not with Aho. If you have him with Kotkaniemi or Drury for more of the season and you put him on the right side, I think that he would play significantly better. I think it would make that much of a difference in his game.
Yeah. We have a comment from Instagram Live that doesn't show up here on the, I can't bring it up on the screen here because of the way Instagram Live works. But Belina0702 says that they think Svech is trying to chase the game too much and that they think he's getting frustrated and trying to play hero ball.
That's a pretty good observation.
I mean, it could be. It could be. We know Svech wants to be great. I don't know if you guys saw somebody posted on X. I don't know if it was after the Rangers game or after I think it was after the Rangers game. He was back out on the ice after the arena was cleared, just taking shots.
I think it was after the Rangers game.
Yeah, it was because after the Florida game, they had to get on the plane. So, so, but yeah, interesting. Thanks for the comment. All right, moving on to our next one we highlighted here was Eric Robinson. AB gave Eric a B. I gave him a B plus, and Brandon gave him an A plus. So, Brandon, I'll let you go ahead and start. What's your case for Eric Robinson deserving that A plus?
So what I was afraid of with Robin, I won't even say I was afraid of, but what I expected with Eric Robinson, I thought that he was going to be strictly a depth player, and I wasn't really even expecting him to make the team. And now he's like another Jordan Martinook that, in my opinion, is a little bit more of a skill player than him. Not by much, but just a little bit. And the fact that we've been able to bump him up to play with Kotkaniemi and Necas when that line was being really successful, he has a lot of Necas' success is owed to the time and space that Eric Robinson creates on the forecheck, and his skating is really good. He's really fast, and you need guys like that to play with someone like Martin Necas, who is nothing but speed at in a lot of situations. He brings a good physical element to the game, and he stepped in stuff after the whistle, and this team is sorely, sorely lacking in toughness at times. It really is. Yesterday was one of those games that really emphasized that. Eric Robinson is one of those guys that goes to the dirty areas. He works really hard. He digs pucks out. The biggest reason I gave him an A+ is because of how much he exceeded expectations. Because if you're paying a guy less than $1 million and he's helping Martin Necas produce at the rates that he did 5-on-5, I got to give him a good grade.
I'm sold. You won me over.
Oh, thank you.
I waved the white flag.
Trust me, I put a lot of thought into that one because I was teetering on A and A+ with him.
I gave him a B+, mainly for the reasons you said. I just didn't. I didn't feel like I could go to A because I guess if I would have just considered him as an individual and not as a member of the team, then maybe he's exceeding all expectations. I just couldn't go up to the A mark because I felt like there's so many players on the team that are playing better that I just couldn't justify in my head. I guess, like I said, if I was taking maybe at him as the individual, not considering everybody around him, then yeah, okay. But but that's really the only reason I didn't go higher. AB, you gave him the lowest grade. Let's hear why.
I'll just say too that I will say that the KK Natchez and Robinson line was spectacular. If that was still a line and if they were still producing the way that they were, he'd be an A. However, what also hurts him is he's not on the power play. He's not on the penalty kill that I have seen. He's not on the 4-on-4.
He's killed penalties.
Well, not primary penalties. Like the guys in front of him. He has exceeded expectations. A guy that you signed for less than $1 million speaks volumes to a guy that I think has 12 points already and is like a +4 or 5, something like that. It's just I can't give him an A because I think it comes down to power play and penalty kill and 3-on-3 and how you impact the game by yourself as a player.
He's a +7, by the way.
A +7.
He's got 15 points.
But if he was on the power play and contributing like the way he was on 5-on-5, he'd definitely be an A for me. I just can't give him a B+ because I want to be different and not copy you.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, Brandon, you sold him right there. And I agree. I think he's been great. I do. I do. I mean, if you remember back through the summer, all of our lineup projections had him in Chicago.
Yep.
I mean, they did. I was like, oh, bring in Bradley Nadeau. Like I'm freaking feel like an idiot now.
FUS, yeah.
Bring in Bradley Nadeau. He needs to be play him on the left wing. No.
Speaking of FUS, I learned something interesting about him yesterday that I'm surprised I didn't know. He was born in Norway, but he's
Swede.
I saw that. I saw that.
He's of Norwegian descent.
Yeah. That is accurate. I remember
some parents Swedish.
Well, I think what it was is they're of Norwegian descent, and he grew up in Sweden. Is what I think happened because he was born in Norway. I didn't know that until yesterday.
I saw your tweet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on here. Everybody's favorite subject, Jesperi Kotkaniemi. AB gave him a C. I gave him a C. Brandon, you gave him a B+. We'll start with you again. Make your case for KK.
All right. I already knew that this. I'm surprised we're as close as we are on this one, especially AB. So when I was grading these guys, for all these guys, my criteria is what do you expect of them? Do you fulfill your role? Do you exceed or meet expectations? In the case of KK, he's meeting the expectation and exceeding it just a touch. Now, he hasn't had the best couple of games the last few games, but he's getting on the back check. He's hitting people. He's defending through physicality. And when he does that, he starts racking up points, primarily secondary assists. And that's what he's got most of this season. There was a post I made about that at one point, and I said, every player has a bellwether stat. In the case of Jesperi Kotkaniemi, in my opinion, it is secondary assist. If he has a lot of those, he is playing well. So I think that we're not going to see KK of last year again. There's still a lot of room for him to improve. But considering that he came in with a very, very, very heavy weight on his shoulders, I think he's responded very well because this is a make or break season for him. Like, he has to do well this year or he's cooked. And so far, he's making that case. Additionally, a lot of people ask or say KK isn't a 2C. KK isn't a 2C. I never saw him as one. I saw him as someone who's going to be that middle six guy you can move up and down as you need to. And long term, he's probably going to take over a lot of Jordan Stahl's mantle, except maybe be expected to provide a little bit more offense. So as far as I'm concerned, that's why I gave him as high of a grade as I did. That being said, I'm not expecting it to go much higher than this over the course of the season. I think that he's about where he's going to be, but we've also seen him go off in the second half before.
I mean, I hear you. I just think that he is. I mean, he just is. He's so average. I mean, he's not. And I understand that we don't see him as a 2C. However, that's what he's getting paid to be. That's the contract he signed. That's what the organization expects him to be. And, a lot of that's not his fault. Like, I get it. You can't control what what the organization is going to pay you and, what they want you to be. I get it, all that, but he was brought here to grow into that position, that role, and he is not meeting those expectations. And I'm at this point, I'm safe to, I think it's safe to say that he never will. Because he's not a second line center. He just doesn't have that scoring touch. He is almost a defender first. Like a Jordan Staal. And just because of who he's playing with, he gets a lot of secondary assists. And I just think that he's just one of those guys that there's a bunch of out there in the NHL, and I think he's easily replaced. Now, having said all that, I don't think he's horrible. He's fine. He plays fine. He's not a liability most nights. There's some nights where he is, which we saw him get demoted to the fourth line. Against, I don't remember who it was at the Columbus game, where he was like directly responsible for like 2 or 3 goals against. So, I don't know. That's why I go C. I just think he's not good, and I don't think he's bad either. I just think he is.
I fucking hate KK.
Hey, guy. Family
What
friendly.
you said a cuss word, so
okay,
I can
but I'm not dropping F-bombs.
The KK makes me so mad. He makes me so mad. I will say I gave him a C because he has a lot of assists. I will say that. Okay. But like Griff said, he is never going to be the second line center. You can say, okay, well, Montreal's done in his development. Well, maybe, he wasn't meant to be a top 3 pick. That's just how it is.
He absolutely was not supposed to be a top 3 pick. He went way higher than anyone thought.
No, he should have been like in the 3rd round or something.
I don't think he's that bad.
Yeah. If you're paying that guy what, 4.7 million, something like that, I have no idea.
4.8, yeah.
You could easily put that to somebody who's a goal scorer and can contribute better at center. So I can't. I don't have faith in him. I hope he proves me wrong. Again, I hope he proves me wrong, but I just don't see it.
He won't. But the thing that makes me angry about it is the organization.
I was just trying to be nice.
The organization should never have signed him to a 8-year deal.
Done.
They didn't really know. I mean, they signed him on an offer sheet. They signed him to an 8-year deal based on what they thought he could be, not what he was. And I think a lot of that is they didn't want to admit that they were wrong, or they wanted to go ahead and chalk it up as a win, with the offer sheet. Like, if we don't sign this contract, then everything we just did is, we'd be admitting. Go ahead.
That offer sheet did give him a lot of leverage in negotiating, like a ton.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like the organization didn't want to admit. Well, I mean, and they weren't even wrong at that point. It's just you didn't know what he was, and they gave him $4.8 million a year. If he turns into what you think he's going to, then that's a beautiful contract. But he didn't, so it's not like there's, you know what I mean? So it's not like, I just think that you could have done something a little bit shorter, maybe like 3 or 4 years, and pay him 5 if you want. I don't know.
I think it was one of those things too, where you had Vincent Trocheck and you knew his role was the second line center, and you lose Trocheck.
Screw that guy, man.
And well, I'm just saying, you lose him, and you're like, what do we do? Okay, well, you have Kotkaniemi, whose development was quote unquote messed up. Okay, maybe he can turn into that $4.8 million guy. So you offer him that, and he hadn't done it. So,
well,
maybe it was.
He signed his contract the year before Trocheck left. He played his first year. Worse. He played his first year on that They knew Trocheck was leaving, but that's anyway. All right, moving on here. We could talk about this all night, but The last one we got here for the forwards is William Carrier. AB gave him a B. I gave him a B+. Brandyn gave him an A. AB, we'll start with you this time. Why a B? Why not anything higher than a B for William Carrier?
Carrier serves his purpose. Carrier is not a guy who is going to match his career high where he had 17 one year for Vegas. I firmly believe that. I hope I'm wrong. But he had a great first game, got an assist. First game as a Hurricane. You know, you really don't hear anything about that guy besides being on that grind line with Martinook, Stahl. I mean, there's just I can't give him over a B+ because yes, you know, he's has his purpose as that third line forward that's gritty, that gets in the dirty areas and everything like that, but you can't put him above a guy like Marty Natchez or Sebastian Aho or any of those guys like that. It's just Carrier serves his purpose. He's not a C player. He's a B player, which is pretty respectable. And that's pretty much all I got.
Can I take this one real quick, Brandyn? Okay. I know you gave him a B and I gave him a B+, but I couldn't disagree more with what you just said, AB.
Okay.
I feel like the explanation you just gave was like for a C, but I just think that I think he's one of those guys that if he wasn't here, you would notice his absence. Kind of like Jesper Fast, right? When Jesper Fast is here, you don't notice he's here, and that's because he's doing his job. And I feel like William Carrier is that same type of player, except on steroids, right? I think William Carrier is a bigger Jesper Fast with maybe a little more offensive touch. And I think he's been really, really good. And I think that, you know, I think he makes the lineup a little bit heavier. You know, people don't want to forecheck against, people don't want to get in his way when he's forechecking in the offensive zone. Like he's just a heavy dude, big dude. And, I gave him a B+ because I do think that he could, and I say this, even though it's the Stahl line, but I think he could provide a little bit more offense. You know, he's got 2 goals, 3 assists, and he's a plus, what is he? A +4, so solid. But I think he could provide a little more offense. But I just think he's great. I love that addition, especially when you found out Jesper Fast wasn't going to be here this year.
And on a bargain too.
Yeah, and he's here for a long time, like 5 years. So Brandyn, what do you got?
So he is doing a lot for a player. You're only paying $2 million. And the next time the salary cap goes up, you literally have twice as much cap for the same amount of what you get out of him on the ice. So the biggest reason why I gave him an A was because, like you said, Griff, you notice the absence of someone like that if he's not there. Jordan Martinook comes out of the lineup, you feel it. Even if someone doesn't score a whole lot. The biggest reason I gave Carrier that grade, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about with Robinson. He brings physicality on a team that lacks it, especially with the way that they play with putting such an emphasis on having that really vicious forecheck. He fits right into that, and he does add the physical element to it as well. More than anything, it's like I said, I grade guys on different criteria. I don't grade William Carrier on the same criteria that I grade Sebastian Aho. I expect 85 points at a minimum a season out of Sebastian Aho. I expect William Carrier to go out there and hit people and eat up time or eat up minutes. So that's why I'm like, basically, if you're filling your role, I give it that. Like, and he's not only just filling his role, he's filling it to the necessary extent. He's not just out there doing cardio. He's getting stuff done.
Right on. I like it. All right, let's move on to the defense here. And we'll start with Shane Gostisbehere. I gave Shane an A-.
I gave Ghost an A- as well.
I did the same thing.
All right. A-. I think he's doing great. The power play is what it is, I think. because Shane Gostisbehere is on it. I think the power play could still be better, but they're scoring.
It's scary when he's on there.
Who wants to argue with it with scoring? So nobody. All right, Dmitry Orlov. I gave him an A.
I gave him an A as well.
Gave him an A as well.
He was the leader. He was the plus minus leader in the entire NHL. I don't know if he still is, but he was. Hold on, I'll tell you.
He's got to be near the top still, at least.
Yeah, I think it's him and Chatty.
It's still, yeah. It's still Orlov is still first. Wow, Kaprizov is plus 18 right behind him.
Oh.
Wow. He's having a heck of a
dude,
Kaprizov's having a
win
heck of a
the
year.
MVP.
It's wild. Anyway, so Dmitry Orlov, A's across the board. Nothing to argue with there. He's been so good ever since probably 3/4 of the way through last season.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on here. Jalen Chatfield, I gave him an A.
Let's see. I gave him an A plus.
I gave him an A.
Wait, hold up. I think I looked at no, I did give him an A plus.
Yep.
I thought so. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Chatty right there alongside Orlov. He's in the top. I believe he's in the top 5 in plus minus as well. Hold on, I'll tell you. He's 6th. Well, tied. No, I'm sorry. He's tied for 4th at plus 17. He is just, I don't know why they listed him 6th instead of 4th. But anyway, top 5 for plus minus. He's having a heck of a year too. I love how he's developed into a top 4 defenseman. You know, we got him. I mean, he was an AHL guy.
For pretty much.
And man, he's developed. So yeah, I don't think there's a lot to discuss there. Jacob Slavin, I gave him an A minus.
I gave him an A plus.
Same as Brandon.
Oh, are we gonna have to discuss this one?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. We know what he's worth.
Yeah, I mean we're pretty close on that.
Yeah. All right. Good, because I don't want to have to defend my A minus.
No, dude, that's a reasonable grade for him. I bounced between. I knew I was going to give him an A.
Brandon,
I just didn't know to what degree.
Shut up. He's A plus.
All right, Brent Burns. I gave him a B minus.
I gave him a B.
I gave him a B.
And I'm going to pause right here for a second because we got a comment.
No. No.
We got Pops in the comments. He says, I know AB will definitely disagree, but it's time for the alpha male of our species to retire. Ooh, hot take. Watching him on the ice Friday, he's not playing anywhere near what he was last year. And then he says, don't get me wrong, love Burnsy, but to not commit on that 2-on-1 breakaway and let Martin commit over the other way was just so unlike him in the past. All right, so we're going to highlight Brent Burns. We're going to come back and talk about this one. And we're going to talk about that comment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to Sean Walker. I gave him a B.
I gave him a B plus.
I gave him a B as well.
Solid addition for the team.
He's only going to get better too.
That's right.
Agree. All right, so that's the defense. I think we mostly agree. But we do not agree with some of our viewers or one of our viewers on Brent Burns. AB, I'm hesitant to let you take this, but I'm going to let you take this. Is it time for Brent Burns to retire, AB?
It is not. And I hate that your dad said alpha. He is the alpha male of our species. And I will say this. He literally goes, don't get me wrong, but to not commit on that 2-on-1 breakaway, you can name any player to do that. It's not like you have a vendetta against this man. Brent Burn, yes, you were going to get a warm glass of milk, Joe, by the way. I'm just saying that, Brent Burns serves his purpose. Him and Slavin have chemistry. There are some times where you're like, hey, why don't bump this person up? But the defensive lines right now are fine. They're fine. Like Brent Burns, great locker room guy. He can still play. If he literally looked like he had a rope between his legs or something like that and couldn't skate, then yes, it'd be time for him to retire. We're talking about now. I think maybe if he does want to play another year, he'll come back and play here. Because I don't see him retiring this year. I don't.
I think his defensive game this year is better than last year.
Yep.
I think he's
I
playing
agree.
better defensively. I don't think he's better offensively this year. Obviously, I mean, he's only got one goal, but we don't need Burns to score when you've got Shane Gostisbehere on the blue line as well. We don't need him to score goals. I mean, it's nice to score goals, but if you can just get the puck through, and set it up, for a rebound chance or something like that, like that's fine. But and that's why I gave him a B minus, because I think his offense is not there. But I think defensively he's better than last year. I just do. I mean, yeah, he screwed up that breakaway, but man, the whole team played like trash all weekend.
Yeah.
And I mean, how about he was defending the 2-on-1. How about the Yahoo that turned the puck over that created the 2-on-1? You know what I mean? Like,
was that KK?
I don't think so. I don't know who it was. But
I thought it was.
I just don't look. Brent Burns, there's some defenders that are playing in this league, right? Still, that are a lot younger than Brent Burns, that are not as good defensively as Brent Burns. So I don't think we should say that it's time to retire. Because I mean, if we're basing that on his play, I think that's way off course.
He does what he wants.
And I mean, who do you replace him with? I mean, what name out there do you bring in if Brent Burns retires and say he didn't finish the year? Who do you bring in that provides you a better option than Brent Burns? You know what I mean? Like, who are you going to bring up? Ty Smith?
Brandyn,
are you going to go sign? You going to go sign Ian Cole or something crazy? Like, you know what I mean?
Let's not do that one.
I just,
if
I
mean, I know what I would do, but
I don't know. I don't think Brent is ready to hang up the skates after this season. I think he plays more, especially if he hasn't gotten if that Ironman streak's still intact. There's a chance that he could come back here on a cheaper deal next year and play, and then maybe Morrow gets another year in Chicago.
Well, I think one guy's leaving and somebody's coming in, which will also help. Not really.
Yeah, I don't think Orlov's coming back.
No,
Orlov's not coming back. But I mean, there's a chance Brent Burns could come back and play next year on a cheaper deal. Just because he wants. Look, it's no secret that Carolina's got a ton of money to spend and a heck of a shot at a cup next season. I mean, who knows who they bring in? So if he still wants to chase a cup, is there anywhere better to go to that can pay you, or that you don't want to go and learn another system when you're already playing in the one that that has a very, very good shot at a cup within the next 3 to 5 years? Well, I won't even say 1 to 5 years.
Oh.
So there is a chance, high chance, I'd say above 75%, that we see Brent Burns back next season on a 1 or 2 year deal. Call me crazy.
No, you're not.
I think it's
suck it, Joseph.
Possible.
Sorry, I'll stop.
Damn.
You can't talk about the alpha male like that.
Was that necessary, AB? That's why you
I got
That's
angry.
why you didn't come see us Friday night at the game, because you were afraid.
I got angry. My bad.
All right, he says we need to keep Orlov with Chatfield. No, I disagree. We need to keep Nikishin.
He's gone.
That's the whole
Alexander Nikishin.
Chatfield's has been
Orlov's going
auditioning
to
to be
SKA.
Chatfield's been auditioning for the last 2 seasons to be the guy next to Nikishin.
Absolutely.
Like, that's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point. As far as Burns goes, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm 50-50 on the idea of bringing him back. I lean towards no. Let me reevaluate that at the end of the season. And the biggest factor there is I'm watching Scott Morrow a lot. He's getting there. But now, is there's a possibility that he's ready at the end of the season? Yes. Is it a big possibility? No. But we'll see. That's one of those things that I got to wait until the end of the season before I can give you what I believe would be a well thought out opinion from me, because I'm kind of in between on that. I really am.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I hear you, but I just believe
You're not
that
staying at my house anymore, Brandon.
I believe that if Brent Burns goes to Rod Brendan Moore and Eric Tulsky and says, "Hey, I want to play another year,"
Oh, Brandon left.
guess what?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you flickered.
No, I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
been here.
well, I guess it was on
All right.
my.
Let's move
Yeah.
on here because we're getting kind of past the hour mark here. But all right, goaltending, we're not going to grade Freddie,
No.
but we'll grade Kochetkov and Martin. So we'll start with Pyotr Kochetkov. I gave him a B.
I gave him a actually.
For Kochetkov?
Yes.
I see a B plus.
I see B plus.
Oh, wait, my bad. I was looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
Okay, B plus. Sorry, I was looking at the penalty kill, I think, or something.
No, I
Yeah.
gave Kochetkov a B plus.
All right. Spencer Martin, I gave him a C.
Okay, this is a typo. I did not mean to type A minus. That was supposed to be a B.
Well, I
Either
gave
that
him
or
a B. I gave him a B.
Either that or I just accidentally forgot to fill that one in. But no, that was supposed to be a B because I'm like, wait, ooh, my bad.
Okay, so you gave Spencer Martin a B as well?
Yes.
Okay, a B.
I gave him a B.
All right, so I'm the low one there with the C, even though I'm sitting here standing up for him.
But yeah, well, I mean, no need to debate on that one.
Yeah, we've already.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already talked about that. But all right. So offense as a whole. Okay, so we'll do the offense, the defense, the goaltending, the power play, and the penalty kill. So offense as a whole, I gave them an A minus.
I gave them an A.
I gave him an A as well.
And I think my A minus was based because I did this after the game last night. And we got shut out, so I was pretty mad. But all right, defense as a whole, I gave him a B.
I gave him a B plus.
I gave him a B plus.
A lot of
Fair there.
recency, a lot of recency bias here, I think.
Stop.
For me anyway.
You gave him an A minus because of last night.
Oh, well, really the whole
That's
weekend.
great.
All right, goaltending, I said C plus.
I said B minus.
B minus.
Close enough.
Yep.
Power play, I gave the power play a B.
I gave it an A.
Gave it an A minus.
And the penalty kill, I gave a B plus.
I gave it an A.
B plus as well.
All right. Solid.
The biggest reason I gave it an A was because of all the 5-on-3s they've had to kill. That could be way lower. And that's the only reason why I did it.
Yeah.
Fetch.
Yeah. All right. So a couple comments here, and then we'll get into the standings and look ahead at next week. And Pops, one more says, I'd bring back Orlov and let Burns go since Nikishin and Morrow are in the wings. And then we've got Caleb Herrera with us. What's up, Caleb? He says, I don't think you can bring back Orlov with that AAV. Yes.
Go get his rubies in Russia.
Agree with that, Caleb. Not for $7.75 million.
No.
Nope.
And he signed that contract knowing that he was stopgap until Nikishin got here. That was the whole purpose of that. That's why it was front loaded and had no trade protection on it. He knew that from the get-go when he signed.
I mean, Orlov's been great. Especially this year and then the playoffs last year. I've enjoyed having him on this roster. I've enjoyed watching him play. But we're about to get the younger, more talented version of Dmitry Orlov next season. Well, really at the end of this season. And the biggest thing with bringing back Orlov, and if you wanted to bring back Orlov and let Burns go, Orlov plays on the left, Burns plays on the right. Nikishin is also on the left. I mean, they can play their offside, but if you wanted them to have them on their natural sides, you assume you take Orlov out and put Nikishin in because they're both left-handed guys.
Yeah, I just think Orlov's the odd man out.
And the only reason, there's other teams that occasionally have two lefties or two righties on the same pair. The only time that Rod's ever done that is having to shuffle them up because of injuries. He won't do that unless he has to.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, and it's very possible we don't see either of them back. I mean, maybe Burns retires. Maybe he, signs somewhere else. Maybe he goes back to San Jose. Like, who knows?
He could.
And,
1-day contract.
Or he could go back to San Jose and play.
He wouldn't make him worse.
Yeah. No, he would not.
No. So, all right. So that was fun. So now let's look. Well, real quick, if we look back, I just want to cover this real quick about the past week. AB in session 63, we said, okay, this was before the Columbus game. This is before we knew Kochetkov was going to get hurt the next night. We looked and we said, okay, 10 points available from now until the end of November.
Mm-hmm.
I said I wanted to see the team get 7 of those 10. You said you wanted to see the team get 6 of those 10 to feel successful. And again, this was before Kochetkov was hurt. So if we'd have known by that, I'm sure our numbers would have gone down a little bit, right? But nonetheless, we ended up with 5 of those 10 points. We got an overtime loss in Columbus, a win against Dallas, and a win against the Rangers. We had a loss to the Devils and 2 losses to the Panthers. So 5 out of 10 points, which was still close to our 6 and 7 that we came out with. So I think, given the circumstances, the injury, when we lost in overtime or in a shootout to Columbus, I was like, oh man, this could get really bad really quick. We could go this whole week and get 0.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't happen. No. So, I mean, I think it's a success.
I do too. And again, we talked about this on the last session. We hadn't beat Dallas in, what did you say, 2 years?
In the regular, I don't believe we didn't. I know we didn't beat them last year.
Yeah.
And the year before, I don't remember if we split or if we lost both, but
if we play Dallas in the playoffs, something really good has happened.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. But
and then you beat your arch rival, and that was just made my heart full.
Yeah.
Obviously, you wanted to get one of those games against Florida, but you couldn't.
Yeah, well,
I'm just happy we beat the Rangers.
Martin
That's
had played.
All I'm happy about.
Martin had played 6 games straight.
Well, maybe
he played 6 games straight.
Well, he played Columbus, didn't he? And he came in overtime.
He played. Here, I got it right here. He played against New Jersey, then Columbus, then Dallas, then New York, then Florida, then Florida.
That's 6.
He played 6 games in a row from Thursday, the 21st of November, through last night. That's 9 days.
He came in late in the Columbus game.
I don't really think you can count that one, though, because he was in for like 30 seconds of overtime in the shootout.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's fair. That's right. That's right. You're right. I forgot he came in late in Columbus, but he played against Jersey before that. So he played on the 23rd. I'm sorry, the 21st. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in 9 days, 5+ games in 9 days. So, and then a back-to-back. So this past week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, that's a tough body of work for any goalie.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that I think it's success. And if you look at the standings, I mean, we're really no worse than we were. We're sitting at 24 games played at 33 points. We're technically 3rd in the Metro. Well, we are 3rd in the Metro. The Capitals are leading the division with 35 points in 24 games. So they are 2 points ahead of us. They've won one more game than we have. Right. And
that's going to get taken care of on the 20th. Don't worry.
And then there's the Devils with 34 points, but we have 3 games in hand on the Devils.
Yeah.
So, and then there's the Rangers in 4th with 27 points. So you're fine in the standings. By points percentage, you're second in the Metro, 2 points behind Washington.
Yeah.
I don't see how this past week was unsuccessful.
Circumstances considered, I'd say we came out all right, because it could have been a whole lot worse.
It could have. Now, just hopefully we get Kochetkov back. Hopefully he plays well, and we can just keep pushing forward. We'll see what the organization does, whether they bring in a guy or not. Maybe Martin's the backup. We'll see. But I think Martin plays better if he has more time between games. So if you roll Kochetkov as your number one, and then Martin is getting 1, maybe 2 games a week, depending on the schedule, on a back-to-back or whatever, I think that's better. I think he'd play a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with that, because the thing, and I'm not the most well-versed guy with goalies or anything, but I've always said the biggest thing that separates a starting goalie from a backup goalie is how often can you put them in and expect them to win games. It seems like when Spencer Martin's starts are spaced out, kind of like when we first got him off waivers the first time and how he was prior to all this happening. If he doesn't start a whole lot of games, he does a lot better. I think that's the biggest thing that separates a starting goalie and a backup goalie is how often they can start and be successful. So if you would have told me that we were going to get start Spencer Martin 4 times this week and win 2 games, good deal if you ask me.
Yeah. All right. So looking ahead, and this is the last thing we'll do, and then we'll get out of here. We've got a nice little homestand here with one away game on Long Island in the middle. So Tuesday night at home versus Seattle. Then Thursday night at home versus Colorado. Then you're at New York next Saturday night. And then you've got 4 home games between the 10th and the 17th of December before you go back on the road for a 4-game road trip. Kind of, staying out here on the East Coast. So the December schedule lines up nicely. I think you can bank a lot of points. There's a lot of teams here that aren't above the playoff line. I mean, look, we've got Seattle, the Islanders, San Jose, Ottawa, Columbus, the Islanders again, and then you've got Colorado thrown in there in the middle. No reason that you shouldn't be able to win most of those games. No reason you shouldn't be able to win more than, Seattle, Colorado, Islanders, Sharks, Ottawa, Columbus, Islanders. You could win them all.
Yeah.
So if we just look at this week, right, this upcoming week, we got Tuesday at home in Seattle, then Colorado, and then at New York. That's 6 points available. I'll ask you both, what is a successful week points-wise? Assuming Kochetkov is back.
How many games did we say it was?
It's 3 games, 6 points. Seattle, Colorado, and then at Islanders.
I would say 4.
4.
Mm-hmm.
So you're okay with losing one of the next 3?
If we have to. But I would prefer not to lose any of them. But I think 4, maybe 5 is realistic. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'll say 5.
Okay.
Just in the event that I could see us going to overtime against Colorado, or maybe Sorokin bailing the Islanders out a bunch. That's the 2 biggest reasons why I would say that.
AB, you agree with that?
Mine's New York. Colorado struggled with their goaltending. I just feel like in Madison Square Garden, Shesterkin can.
Okay. Well, I say not so fast.
I thought it was
not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast.
Are we playing the Islanders or the Rangers?
The Islanders.
It's the Islanders. That's why I said.
You said New York.
Well,
I've said the
they
Islanders
are
at
in New
least
York.
15 times, AB.
Oh, okay, six. Sorry,
Well,
I wasn't
well,
listening.
like I
Six.
said, the reason I
All
said
six.
five is maybe Colorado drags you to overtime because of how much they can score, even with the goaltending issues, even with who they've had out of the lineup. And Sorokin is capable of stealing games. So if you come
Fair.
out with 4, good. If you come out with 5, you did good enough. If you ask me,
I'll say 6.
I need 6 points too. I need you to win all 3 games this week. I just do. There's no reason you lose to Seattle. There's no reason you lose in Long Island. On Long Island, whatever. And there's no reason that you can't beat. Yeah, there's no reason you can't beat Colorado at home. You lost to them in Colorado. You need to win. You need to win. So I need 6 points out of the boys this week.
I agree.
All right, fellas. Well, that's all I've got. Any last thoughts from you guys before we call it a night here?
Just to dispel the rumors on X, I am alive. The reason that those jokes started happening was I was in a group chat. I was in a bunch of them, and I decided, like, so that thing I sent you guys earlier, y'all know I've not really been skating lately because I've been rehabbing stuff and everything like that. Well, I didn't know that the Marksmen were having that alumni game, and I was sitting there teetering on the idea of playing it, and I decided I'm going to. So I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to limit distractions. So I jumped out of all the group chats I was in except for mine. And I was like, I'm going to put myself through a Rocky training montage at 4:00 in the morning, go get some ice time a couple of times this week, and then go play in that game. And then when I was like, hey guys, I'll see y'all in a week, I bailed out. And next thing I know, the condolences messages were coming up, but I'm not AI generated. It is me.
Just so you know, I'm not an AI dude. I'm a real dude.
I am not Tony D'Angelo.
That's funny. All right, AB. Well, that's all I got, buddy. So if you don't have anything else, you can take us out.
Whatever Brandon said. Okay. Thank you so much for listening and watching session 64 of CaniacSessions. If you haven't already, please follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Click the notifications bell so you don't miss anything that we put out. Like it. Leave a comment. Let us know what we're doing wrong. You can find Brandon on X at The Warning Take, and you can find his YouTube channel at The Warning Take as well. You can find Griff on X personally at M_Griff10, and you can follow me on X personally at AB Caniac Session. Thank you so much for listening and watching session 64, and we will see you in session 65.
Bye.